Welcome back to the Puckn Pod. On today's episode, it's another Shocked and Appalled. And then we discuss 2025 blockbusters, current and upcoming. And finally, we discuss our favorite supporting actor roles. That's all coming up next right here on the Puckn Pod. Let's Puckn Go! Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Puckn Pod. My name is Joe.
My name is Brandon.
And I'm Paul.
Well, gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about. It's crazy how we go so long without hearing from Paul. What shocks and appalls him? I think it's time we talk about what shocks and appalls Mr. Paul. Tell us, Paul.
Yeah, so first shocking thing for me, I guess, nowadays is as you know, and you guys are as well, I'm a bit of a gamer and definitely enjoy playing video games. It's not as important to me now as it maybe was 10 years ago, but nonetheless, I still enjoy it. I do find it shocking nowadays. Obviously, the expensive costs for these gaming systems, these games. Like you could get an Xbox game, 10, 15 years ago for 50, maybe $60. Now you're looking at, Xbox and PlayStation games being almost $100.
Not only that, but the systems are like $1,000.
Which again, if you go back to like the late 80s and early 90s when those systems were coming out, they were that expensive then. But I guess the gaming industry has shifted so much in regards to, the quality increasing so much, so you have to invest so much into it. But, when we're dealing with the economics that we have to deal with in the world right now, it's as much as you want to maybe play every game that's out there. Are you going to spend $300 on games one weekend kind of thing compared to not having, say, Blockbuster to rent video games anymore?
Yeah, you compare it a lot to, like you say, it's really like inflation and things like that. The cost of living, the cost of everything has gone up. And, when you think about video games, what costs $100 now, when we were kids buying, say, a brand new game for the Sega Genesis, might have cost you $20, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a big change.
I would say these days, with all the storylines and whatnot in a lot of the games, like they're intense and epic games, like the storylines and open world and all that stuff. So yeah, you're right. There's a ton of stuff that goes into it. But I mean, we couldn't do that back when we could rent games. Right. You play GoldenEye, you'd multiplayer with your buddy till 3 a.m, but really you're not getting anywhere. You're not really accomplishing anything other than bragging rights. But yeah, I mean, the worst thing about it is that not only do you have to pay for the games, but then add-ons or packs, like The Sims, for example, where you can get, I know Tiff likes to play The Sims every now and again, and she buys certain packs that give you clothing or benefits, certain seeds that you can plant in your garden, and, different things like that, right? Of course, and it's the same with every game. Every game has their perks that you can level up on and you can pay for, right? But I know, speaking to a game that we play quite a bit in the NHL series from EA, we get frustrated because they charge more or the same, but generally more the last couple of years for this game, and it's so disappointing. Yeah. It's I'd rather play a game from 4 years ago with the way the metrics of the game are. So that kind of gets frustrating too for people who are gamers, who are kind of dedicated to playing a certain game or sequels or like series, right? A series of games.
Yeah, talking about, like you're talking about the NHL, right? With every NHL game coming out every year. I've talked for years, I think with you, with Mikey, with Joe, that I feel that an NHL game done like how Grand Theft Auto is, where it's a make it once for every 10 years, update your rosters and everything like that, but put all of your money, all the effort into creating a quality game and have the one game, pay the subscription every year for it, and keep the mechanics a certain way so people don't get lost every year when they're playing the new game. And it's, some people like the mechanics and improvements. Other people are like, it doesn't make any sense. Like I look at NHL 25 here, and to be honest, the goaltender looks like a pylon. They stand there and let a puck in every which move you make, kind of thing. For me, it's not enjoyable anymore.
comparable too. Like there are people out there who don't play online, right? They want to play a game just for, like, for me, if I play NHL, I want to play the like the creative player and be a pro, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franchise mode, by the way, is one of my favorite modes in NHL.
Mine too.
Every year you want to create a team that you can trade players, draft players, and make the best possible team. I've been saying for years that somebody needs to make a mobile version of that where you can just go on your phone and do like drafting, trading, all that kind of stuff. It's so much fun. And then you can like sim a season, right? Like you just sim a season and see how the team does from that perspective, right? I feel like that's the one thing that we're missing on our mobile devices is just the ability to sort of be a GM.
So I have a very important question for both of you. Franchise mode, salary cap on or off?
On.
100%.
Yeah, because you want to see if you can do better than your own GM of the team you follow.
Devo sends me a photo of his lineup, and I'm like, Jesus, that's beyond an all-star team, man.
Brad
like
Marchand on the fourth
Olympic
line.
Team Canada. Like,
Yeah, that's right. Connor McDavid's your third line center.
that is appalling and shocking.
That is
as well.
appalling. Sorry. Well, if you look at the video game industry, right, it is at a point now where it's on par with Hollywood in terms of the cost of developing and making it. Like, if you look at a movie like Spider-Man or any of the Marvel movies, they're over 300, 400 million to make these movies, but they're also bringing that money in. It's the same with video game development now. You're seeing some of these developers put in that much money, and some of those games are amazing and they're definitely worth it. It's a almost $300 billion industry. So it's all about investment. And again, I love playing the games. It's getting to a point where it's losing its appeal and its luster because it's getting too expensive.
It's getting too expensive, and it's the same game.
Exactly. Like, obviously you have Stream where you can play games on your PC that way, and it's a good system. But I've always been a console player, and it's starting to get to a point where I'm starting to question maybe whether I'll be a console player in the future because of how expensive it's being.
It is. Yeah. And I'm sure you're not alone. There's probably people out there who feel the same way. It to me feels like that's exactly what it's missing is the idea of the game should be free, and then you pay a subscription to play online, or you pay a little bit to play it once, just if you don't want to do the online mode, like what I would typically do, and then pay a subscription fee if you want to pay online. To me, that's what makes sense.
And it's continual income too when you do it that way.
And
Like
it's the same game. All you're doing is updating, different features. Kind of like Fortnite, right? When you think about when you compare it to like the quality of the game changes, and when the quality of the game changes, it's due to an update of the game. There's no reason why they can't do that in NHL.
I 100% agree.
What else do you find shocking and appalling?
Both shocking and appalling is I don't want to get too much into politics, but I was quite flabbergasted on how both Vance and Trump treated Zelensky on TV in the Oval Office.
Yeah,
The Ukrainian president.
Yeah. It was
Vladimir.
to kind of talk down to him like he's a kid, like berate him for there being a war there, that he's standing up for his country and their freedom, and he's fighting, I guess, what some people would call a dictator with Putin and Russia. I'm not going to try to go too deep into that because everyone's going to have their own opinion on that. But he's, again, he's a man that's standing up for his country and needs help. Ukraine's a lot smaller country than Russia is, and
America,
and he's asking for democratic help from our powerhouse democracies in this world, and to be treated like he's a fifth grade human being kind of thing. It was, I was angry watching that interview.
Yeah, it's like, talk about kicking a man while he's down, right? His country is crumbling as we speak.
His people are dying,
and he's being talked to it's like being bullied by two bullies. They called him in just so they could crap all over him, and it's like, first of all, like, how childish do you have to be to, take a man who's literally, desperate for help and just like kick him while he's down?
Yeah, and to say that he's not respecting them, like you could hear Zelensky during the interviews, like I have given you respect the entire time I'm here, just because it's. I'm sure he's thinking in his head, just because I'm not doing it on TV right now does not mean I'm not giving you the respect that you deserve. But you look at a guy like Trump, it's all about the show. And when he's signing his orders, he's got cameras in front of him. He's like, "This is what I've signed." It's all about the show, and so it's I guess how he gets the people behind him, right? It's that power trip. And Zelensky's, you can tell he's a humble man, and he's humble about caring for his people. And
they picked him apart. Like they were talking about the fact that he wasn't wearing a suit.
Yeah, I saw that one guy there.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
Ridiculous, like.
Like talk about making if you're somebody that's not an American, or even maybe some of the Americans too, and watching this like the way that we have, you're looking at them and you're thinking, I really hope most of the American people don't think that way.
Yeah, from what I understand, looking at social media and stuff, there's a lot of Americans are obviously they don't support what Trump's doing. They don't support what Trump is doing, and they don't support what their ideals are. There are people who do, obviously, but for the most part, I think the majority of people are kind of like, no, this is not what we voted for.
I had seen the other day something online along the lines of Zelensky has given everything to his country. Like any fortune that he may have had, any savings, all of his assets, basically, he's poured back into the war effort to support his people. And on top of that, allegedly the outfit he was wearing was given to him by an 8-year-old boy from the Ukraine that had it made for him. And he'd been wearing it for like 4 or 5 days in kind of honor. And then he sits there and gets ridiculed for not wearing a suit. Like, really, the guy's country's being bombed. That's what we're worried about right now? We're worried about what he's wearing? Like, okay,
trivial.
Sorry, he's wearing boxers and not briefs. Should he just fly home? Like, what is going on?
Absolutely trivial, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. I did hear later on that apparently that reporter that asked that question was getting some serious flack.
Like death threats.
Yeah, like
I
real
saw that
bad.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show, like, people are starting to get fed up with this nonsense that's going on. Like American citizens are embarrassed to see what's happening. And, you can only put up with so much of this nonsense before you start saying, you no longer have my support. And, crazy things happen after that. So it's just, hopefully, Trump kind of smartens up. It's not, maybe I'm putting too much into it, but he should smarten up, and he should, really think about his people in his actions from here on out.
Well, like you can only push people's or a nation's buttons or people's buttons for so long, right? And we look at Trump in regards to even like the possibility of a continental trade war, with the fact that he's putting these tariffs in place, and talking about annexing Canada or Greenland, and basically again trying to get show like he's this mighty man. But people get fed up after hearing it and seeing it for too long, and tend to fight back. And there's been already threats from at least from the Canadian side about cutting power and stuff like that, and tariffs coming back their way.
Yeah, they already said that they're going to add a surcharge to the electricity that they're sending from Ontario to the States. So that's happening either way.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to stop them from basically adding surcharges or tariffs on Canada's side is if Trump finally takes it away and says, you know what, forget it, we won't do tariffs, because we've had enough too. Like we Canadians have had enough of the threats of annexing and trying to bully us into these tariffs. It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense.
I heard today that BC is starting to put levies and tolls on American trucks coming through BC to Alaska as well. So, I don't know. It's very confusing. I don't...
It's frustrating, too. Like, it's completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Well, think about
words.
Think about the American people. They voted in somebody that was, again, like his first campaign, Make America Great Again, and maybe him getting shot in the ear. Not that, again, any of that was ever okay, but kind of made people feel empowered to vote for him even more. I couldn't tell you why exactly he got voted back in, but he's put in there to make America great again. Yet the possibility of like I said, these tariffs and the retaliation that could happen from the countries, like the U.S. could lose trillions of dollars in the process of this. Like it's other countries like Canada, like I said, we're going to be affected as well. But America has a lot to lose in the process of all this too.
Well, look at the stock market, all right? The stock market pretty much crashed
Yeah.
the moment these tariffs kicked in. So, you look at the way he kind of stepped back after that happened. It kind of points to the fact that he can be his own worst enemy when it comes down to it, because he actually said in a tweet, I want to say in 2006 or something like that, there was a tweet where he put out that he said any president that lets the Dow go down 1,000 points should be impeached. And this is before he ever became president. And he let it go down 15 or 1,600 points.
Wow.
In one day, just from starting these stupid tariffs. So if it doesn't tell you that he literally doesn't listen to himself, and B, obviously doesn't pay attention to the way things work, and that these tariffs hurt them more than it helps them, I don't know what does. So, yeah, I definitely can understand why that would be shocking and appalling.
Yeah, and if we're looking at obviously something that's kind of shocking and appalling, again, I've talked about like, how Trump's kind of tries to show himself as a certain figure, right? And that he's had celebrity status. We're looking at the Oscars this year. There was not a ton of controversies, but there was some controversy. And one of the controversies that was kind of at least talked about in the U.S. was the star of the movie Emilia Perez, Carla Sofia Gascon. She was repeatedly misgendered by the media, but she was the first openly trans nominee for her category. And again, to be in the spotlight, to be known for that's a great thing. Unfortunately, with social media, you can dig into people's pasts, and she, I guess, kind of was found out before the Oscars and during the Oscars that she had a bunch of bigoted posts and stuff like that kind of negated the fact that she was, this first openly trans nominee. And even though she had been talking about love and tolerance and, had been preaching that her entire campaign for the movie. So it's really important you kind of know what you're saying, and again, if you're going to be a social figure, to be yourself, but know that you're in the spotlight and you're being seen and you're having an influence some people.
More and more, what we're seeing specifically, and I'm going to pinpoint the United States, but it's happening all over the place. More and more, what we're seeing is we're seeing less and less people care about other people. Right? We see a lot of selfishness. We see a lot of people who, they'll say whatever they feel without thinking about the repercussions of what they say. And, bigoted statements can really come back and hurt you when you say things without thinking, right? You're putting something out on the internet, the entire world will see it at some point. And you have to think about those actions before you make them. So, if I can give any advice to kids out there, watch what you say on the internet, because it could hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, so like I said, I found that to be a bit shocking as well, that she kind of hadn't held her tongue. But, that's Hollywood. That's going to get noticed sometimes.
You sort of see trends these days with award shows and things like that, big platform opportunities, and people are starting to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what I'm referring to, but Robert De Niro. The other day.
Absolutely. Well, he's so anti-Trump, and good on him. But at the same time, he's so anti-Trump that he's not afraid to go on a stage like the Oscars and say how he feels. And, and somebody should really, maybe this is me just expressing my opinion, but I just feel like, you shouldn't be afraid to express how you feel. Especially when somebody like Trump is in power, who's abusing that power. So again, that's just my opinion. I'm not, my opinion does not affect your, express your guys' opinions. It's just how I feel. So is that all you got, Paul? You got any more shocking and appalling things you'd like to talk about?
I think, I could go on the entire episode talking about shocking and appalling things. I think we should, talk about other things that we love.
Well, one thing I really love is blockbuster movies. You know, there's a lot of exciting movies that are going to come out soon, and there's some that you just kind of sit back and go, "Man, I cannot wait for that movie to come out." And one particular movie for me is the next Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning Part 2. As you guys know, I have said this in the past that I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise fan, but I do love the Mission Impossible movies, and I think he does an incredible job with the stunts that he does, and the way that he literally puts his actual body on the line to make sure that it looks good and that it is real. This movie I cannot wait for, because from what I understand, it is going to kind of wrap the whole thing up. So I'm really looking forward to it. What about you guys? Is there movies that you guys are looking forward to?
I got a couple that stuck out for me, but I think what was more interesting is that when I was kind of looking through the list of some of the movies being released this year, there's movies coming out that I didn't even know were being either sequeled or coming out, you know? Like, I think one example I saw was there was like Dodgeball 2.
What? Dodgeball 2?
First time I heard that
me
was
too.
when I read it earlier. Dodgeball 2.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch, but I mean, kind of possibly an end to the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I don't think they're going to go on forever, but who knows? But, Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out this year. Paul and I are both big Jurassic Park fans, so that's going to be good. And then one movie that I thought was going to take years and years just because of the way it sort of went trendy from the beginning is the third Avatar movie coming out.
Did you see the second one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the first. It's still a good movie to watch, but there was so much time in between the first and the second movie. Now the third movie's coming out literally 2 years later.
Yeah.
And if it is released this year, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, things get pushed back for whatever reason too, but this is something James Cameron has been pushing for since the beginning, when he said there was going to be 3 movies. And we're just like, what? But yeah, it's, when you consider the fact the first one came out forever ago, it's kind of cool to see, this movie coming out, Fire and Ash.
Yeah. That first Avatar movie was the first movie I saw in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Funny enough, that's
3D.
awesome.
It was good in 3D too. It was exciting.
When it comes to blockbuster films, I really do like a series of films. As we know, we're all big Marvel fans, and there's a couple of Marvel films coming out this year. Currently out right now is Captain America: Brave New World.
Right.
And I really like that they were able to replace William Hurt with Harrison Ford. William Hurt was great as Thaddeus Ross, but I think Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. You love him in everything that he does, pretty much.
True. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see him, and I'm not giving too much away, as Red Hulk. It's been in the previews and stuff.
It's in the trailers. Yeah.
So I'm not worried about spoiling anything there.
Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but it's
I
on.
find that
it's on
surprising,
my list.
to be honest.
Yeah. Being a parent, right?
Yeah, really.
Not much for time, but it's not the only Marvel film coming out this year. There's the Thunderbolts, which are kind of like the anti-Avengers, really, when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, they were in the Black Widow movie, right?
Well, there's characters from all different movies. So two of them from the Black Widow would have been Natasha's sister. Mm-hmm. That's Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, as well as David Harbour playing the.
David Harbour's the best.
Playing the Red Guardian.
I love David Harbour. You know what? Have you seen Violent Night?
I haven't, but I heard it's hilarious.
It's so good. It's one of my. It's actually, I've decided to make it a Christmas movie that I watch every year. I didn't watch it this year, ironically, but seriously, it's so good. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. David Harbour's amazing in it.
Definitely want to. And there's, again, this whole anti-Avengers is kind of, it's got misfits from all the films. It's got Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan plays him. John Walker, played by Wyatt Russell, he's kind of like, I guess, the evil Captain America in regards to, if you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there was something that happened in that series that kind of made him kind of evil. Taskmaster was in also the Black Widow film. There's Ghost, who is in the Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
Yeah.
And she's actually quite a good actor. That's played by Hannah John Kamen. And then everyone kind of loves Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and she plays kind of the one that puts them all together into that group.
Yeah.
And then looking at obviously the other Marvel film, and I'm actually really looking forward to because the other ones really sucked.
Me too.
Is the Fantastic Four
Yeah.
film coming out?
Yeah. Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Pretty excited about that. Yeah.
To me,
Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal to me was actually a bit of a surprise cast. I
Yeah.
really was expecting John Krasinski to step into the role because he did for obviously Doctor Strange.
Different universe though, right?
Different universe, exactly. But again, same thing. Love Pedro Pascal. He is a fantastic actor. I first saw him in Game of Thrones and think he's one of the best since. Vanessa Kirby, also of Mission Impossible. She's going to be in the film.
I think she was also in one of the James Bond movies, right? Wasn't she? I feel like she was. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah, that one, unfortunately, I don't know. Up and coming actor Joseph Quinn. He was seen in Stranger Things,
also in The Bear,
and
which, by the way, I recommend highly if you've never seen The Bear. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Great
And-
movie, or great TV show. I mean,
Quiet Place Day One. He was
Yeah.
in that as well. And lesser known actor, but I have seen him recently in the Star Wars. What was the show again? Star Wars ANDOur. He played a character in it, and he's actually quite good. So Eben Moss-Bachrach is going to play Ben Grimm, the Thing. Interested
you
to
know
see
what? I think that's the guy who's in The Bear. Hang on.
Evan.
Now I got to look it up.
Did you guys know that Heat 2 is apparently supposed to come out this year?
Oh wow, really
Austin Butler and Adam Driver.
Cool. I'll check it out.
interesting.
Yeah, that's who is in The Bear. Eben Moss-Bachrach.
Bachrach.
It's a Michael Mann movie too, by the way. Heat 2.
So I was mistaken. Eben Moss-Bachrach is the one who is in The Bear. I had the actors mixed up, but yeah, like I say, I recommend The Bear a lot. He actually has won Golden Globes for his character for his role in The Bear. So I recommend you check it out. It's a really good movie. It's about a chef at a restaurant, basically starting his own restaurant, but it's kind of like very real.
Is that on Disney Plus?
It is on Disney
I
Plus.
think
yeah.
I've seen the advertisement for it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll be honest, probably one of the movies I'm most looking forward to that's coming out this year that, again, we would probably consider a blockbuster film. I really liked the second Tron.
Yeah, Tron 3.
And there's
I really
Tron
like
3.
the second Tron 2 as well.
And it didn't get the praise that I think it deserved when it first came out. I think it's gained a cult following since. So like, the fact that, there is a third Tron coming out, I'm actually most anticipating that one.
My favorite thing about the second Tron movie was that it was filmed in Vancouver.
It was,
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. One movie that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm also not looking forward to it, ironically, and I'm looking forward to it the most because it's my favorite character, favorite superhero there ever was, and that's the Superman movie. I'm looking forward to it just so I can say I've seen it, but ultimately I'm not looking forward to it because I'm unhappy with the direction that they've decided to go with the character, because I thought Henry Cavill was the best Superman there was. That being said, and I mean that's it's debatable because of course you're talking about Christopher Reeves and all those other guys who played him too, but I just felt like Henry Cavill really brought something out in the character. But we're looking at James Gunn basically not rebooting, but creating a new universe for Superman. Nicholas Hoult is going to be playing Superman in this movie.
Nope, he's playing Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, he's Lex Luthor. What's the name of the guy?
Richard Cornsweet.
Richard Cornsweet?
Yep.
Richard Cornsweet will be playing Superman in this movie.
Hold on. Dick Cornsweet? Really?
I'll make sure that I'm pretty sure.
So mature.
Lord.
But yeah, this universe he is bringing it to life from this specific series of comics for Superman, where his dog Crypto will be in this movie, and there's going to be a different version of Green Lantern. There's going to be a different version of Green Lantern in this movie as well. Nathan Fillion will be in the movie as well, and Alan Tudyk. So it will have a good cast. I'm just like I said, I'm looking at this specific movie almost coming into it with low expectations because I'm comparing it to what I'm used to with Henry Cavill, and I really like Henry Cavill as Superman. So
my mistake. David Cornsweet.
David Cornsweet.
That's better. That's a little bit better anyway. Did you guys ever see the movie back in, I think it was the mid-2000s, called Driven?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
with
Driven.
I'm not even going to try his name. The guy he's in Remember the Titans.
Yeah, it was Kip something, Kip Pardue, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, something like that. And,
I don't think I've seen it.
And Robert Sean Leonard is in that movie.
Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
It's about F1.
Okay, yeah.
And essentially,
That's probably why I didn't see it, because I have no interest in F1. That's
so
just me.
okay, well then there you go. But essentially, you know, Sylvester Stallone comes out of retirement to kind of be a team leader and like a mentor to this young hotshot driver. And what's interesting is that there's a movie coming out this year with Brad Pitt called F1. And it sounds like it's about the same premise.
Interesting.
So it's not a reboot as far as I know.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see because Driven was really, really good, I thought. So I'm not a huge Brad Pitt fan, but I'll usually check out anything that he's in. So
Yeah, me too.
And I like racing movies, so I think that one's going to be fun.
You talked earlier about Avatar and the spacing in between the different films. Another film that's coming out this year that's had a large time in between films is there was 28 days later, there was 28 weeks later, there's 28 years later coming out.
I'm really
this
looking
year.
forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the movies, but I was a big fan of 28 Days Later. I thought it was really good. And what's interesting about it is it was a very low budget movie.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job with it. And 28 weeks later, a little different. Like obviously a higher budget movie, didn't look anything like the original. But obviously like the storyline is really good. Then the way it's a zombie movie, so when you think about like, you know, the zombie kind of genre, they make the zombies very aggressive.
It's because they're infected with rage.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, you saw World War Z, right? With Brad Pitt, right?
Yep.
Very same thing. Like they're very aggressive zombies, and it's not something you're used to when you think of the zombie genre.
Yeah.
Zombies are supposed to be very kind of slow and not melodic. What's the word? Like very just slow and like
Melancholy.
Yeah.
Lethargic, probably.
Lethargic, yeah, like very slow, low energy. Whereas these zombies, it's like they're infected with like you say, rage or, speed or something, and they're just like they like run up walls and stuff. So it doesn't give you enough time to sort of react, and that's what's so startling about the zombies, right? So I really like what they do with it, and then also with this specifically with 28 Days Later, because they had a lower technical budget, so they used a lower quality camera and stuff like that. They were able to get certain cast members to come in, and I thought that was really cool. And actually, from what I understand, in 28 years later, the main character who was played by Cillian Murphy in the first one,
He's supposed to come back.
he's supposed to come back, and it's going to be really interesting to see.
Is that how you say his name? Cillian?
Cillian? Yeah.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah.
Everyone says Cillian.
Yeah.
Now there's
I thought it was Sicilian, to be honest.
No, it's Cillian. I actually, girl I work with, she's got a son named Cillian as well.
It's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that in a million years. You could have given me 25 guesses.
Another movie I'm really looking forward to is Karate Kid Legends.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just finished watching the Cobra Kai series, and
Awesome
I
series.
said to you guys before when we were talking about the Cobra Kai series how much I didn't like how it felt. The acting was bad, and maybe the storyline was bad or whatever. Like I was disappointed in it, but I still watched it because, of course, I'm a big Karate Kid fan. The ending of the series, I will say. I'm not giving anything away.
Because I haven't quite got there.
The ending of the series, I will say, did make me emotional.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of the history of the show and how it affected me growing up. But, it was an emotional kind of ending to the whole thing. And so for me, I look forward to sort of seeing what they do with this movie altogether. I really like Jackie Chan. I think Jackie Chan's incredible. But the fact that Ralph Macchio is going to be in this movie as well and kind of combine those worlds, I think is going to be really exciting.
The only thing that hasn't clicked for me through the movies is, and when we think about the Jackie Chan side, is that Mr. Miyagi was from Okinawa and Jackie Chan is from China.
Yep.
It's not even the same martial art. It's not even the same culture. It's not even the same country. Yet, I don't think it's really been mentioned or really dwelled on that much, which is probably fine. That's why it's been successful. And
They'll
it's so
probably
good.
explain it in the movie,
Maybe,
too.
yeah. But it's interesting how that may come together. And I mean, even in the Karate Kid movies, like the one with Jaden Smith, when that at 20, I don't even remember what, 2014 or something. It was like 11 years ago now already. Yeah. You could see that the style of karate was different because I think he was kung fu.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously two different martial arts, but they linked kind of the teaching style with odd things and things like hanging up your coat and waxing the car, you know, that sort of thing, which I thought was really cool.
I think the message behind that is really just to show that martial arts in general it can be utilized in everything. Yeah. And you can kind of compare the movements to what you normally do every day.
Have you learned any like karate moves from your kids' classes or anything like that?
I took karate as a kid.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I took Kempo karate as a kid.
I didn't know. I got to stop chirping you so much.
I actually really enjoyed it. Kempo karate, which is what I studied, is very much, it's the art of fighting in small spaces. That's actually the point of it. So you learn a lot of moves to sort of, when you, like if I'm doing a side kick, you learn to pivot your body so that you're in a tight space so you can defend yourself, you know, in the right way and things like that. So for me, like, I really enjoy martial arts. I always have. And maybe that's why martial arts movies are so important to me. But yeah, you know, when I watch my kids do martial arts, it's kind of fun because it kind of brings me back, right, to when I was a kid learning those things. Now, I think I took it a lot more seriously than they do, but maybe they'll eventually take it more seriously. We'll see.
I'm wondering with that film, with the Karate Kid Legends, whether they will bring any of the characters from the show, Cobra Kai show, into the movie. Ralph Macchio's wife and kid and stuff like that. Yeah. Whether that will happen, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Karate Kid has some history. One movie I'm kind of looking forward to as well this year, and you look at the history of certain films, like you look at Lion King's been redone as live action. You've seen Aladdin done as live action, Little Mermaid movie that it's not that old, but it was great when it came out. How to Train Your Dragon as obviously a CGI and now being done as a live action.
I was surprised when I saw that. When I saw the teaser for that, I was
looks good.
They're doing a real life version. It's cool.
Yeah.
It looks kind of interesting. I enjoyed the animated version of it, so
a lot.
I think it'll be good.
Has anybody heard anything about the plot of Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah, I was just looking at that. So I found out today that Happy Gilmore 2 comes out in July.
Yeah.
So that's a really short turnaround when you think about the fact. I feel like they were just filming it. But the fact that it's coming out in July, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't heard a thing about the plot.
Yeah.
I have heard that certain actors are returning to the movie that we might not expect, like Ben Stiller, which is kind of exciting. I loved his character in the first one. And it's going to be fun to kind of see what they do with it.
I will put you to sleep.
You can trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
Who plays Shooter?
Shooter McGavin.
Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Christopher.
Me too, man. He's gone way downhill in his life, and it's almost like he's proud of it. He's like a true life John Daly.
Yeah,
or
really.
a true life Shooter McGavin.
True life Shooter McGavin. He's a little more reckless though. Like a John Daly type character. You know, he's drinking beers at 7:30 in the morning. But I don't know. He looks like he's had a tough go over the past couple of decades. And you know what? Maybe he's in the best health of his life. Who knows? But it's going to be fun and really interesting to see that relationship and where they go with this, because they've really given us no information.
They really have, and I mean that's probably a good thing, really, when we think about it. I can't wait for the first trailer just to see what they do with it. Now, there's a couple more kind of martial arts style movies that are coming out, and I'll just name them quickly. First is Mortal Kombat 2. I don't know if you saw the first Mortal Kombat, not the original from like 1994.
I was going to say I saw the first Mortal Kombat 2.
There was a Mortal Kombat movie that came out, I believe, for Netflix like 2 or 3 years ago. It was quite good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Good CGI, good martial arts. There is a sequel coming out this year. I don't know specifically when, but it is coming out this year. And then also Nobody 2. Did you guys ever see Nobody with Bob Odenkirk?
No.
You never saw it?
I have not.
I 100% recommend it. I believe it's on Netflix. I 100% recommend it. Check it out. It's really good. Nobody 2 comes out this year. I'm stoked for it. I cannot wait.
if you're looking at obviously karate and action movies, I think we could all agree John Wick kind of like really revived Keanu Reeves again. There is a spin-off of that movie coming out called Ballerina with Ana de Armas. And
I really like Ana de Armas. First of all, I mean, she's what I would consider a celebrity crush for sure.
Yeah, she's a good looking lady.
Plus, she does action, which is exciting. You know.
She's always seems to be badass in all of her movies.
She was in I think the last James Bond movie.
Yeah,
you know what's funny?
It was Spectre.
Yeah,
I was just thinking too. I think one of the first movies I ever saw her in was like Knock Knock or whatever. Was with Keanu Reeves.
That's
ironic,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Again, kind of one of those creepy, eerie characters. She's been that a few times throughout her career.
There's actually another movie coming out fairly soon. It might even be out already, called Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson. It's basically his character. He signs up to be kind of a test subject, and his character dies, and then he gets regenerated in another body. Basically, it's his same body, like cloned.
Oh yeah, I've seen
and then
the
his
previews.
like memories and stuff stay with him, and he dies a bunch of times in the movie. It actually looks kind of interesting. I'm curious to see, if it's actually a good movie or not, but I want to check that out too.
Well, he's been coming up and up ever since he's been in obviously the Twilight films. He was in one of the Harry Potter
Batman
films.
movie too.
But yeah, Batman. I wasn't a huge fan of the Batman. However, in my personal opinion, he was probably one of the best.
You weren't a fan of the movie, really? I loved it.
If I was comparing it to the other Batmans, it was
Yeah,
it was a little bit lesser to me. But in my opinion, he probably is like the toughest and hardest Batman that there was.
The cool thing about and this is on a tangent, but the cool thing about that specifically, Matt Reeves is the director of that movie, the writer director of that movie. The cool thing about Matt Reeves' Batman, in my opinion, is that the characters are not superheroes. They're not like the people, like Superman doesn't exist in that world.
Yeah,
and it's not an animated version, right? Like it's not like Tim Burton's Batman where like the Joker is like this character, you know what I mean? Like they're characters, but it's like they're more realistic in a way. It's almost like that much more believable. And even the fact that Robert Pattinson's Batman and Bruce Wayne ultimately, like his character's almost like a detective more than he is a superhero.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep, I agree with that too.
Yeah, and I really like it. I enjoyed it a lot, and no one can deny that Colin Farrell's Penguin is not amazing. It's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Well, his facial prosthetics for
it's just incredible.
Yeah, like you wouldn't have known that was Colin Farrell.
If they didn't, how do they not win awards for that?
Yeah.
Make him look like a completely different person.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the movie Greenland?
I
believe
it
was on Prime, right?
Yep.
There's a sequel coming out called Greenland Migration.
That was one of the shocking movies that I saw. I had no idea there was even a sequel coming.
Yeah,
for
me
it.
neither.
Interesting.
Yeah. It looks really interesting.
I'm a big Marina Baccarin fan ever since I saw Homeland.
Yeah,
and I'm a big Gerard Butler fan too, and he's done some really great movies. Greenland was one of them. I really enjoyed it, so I can't wait to see that one too.
There's two movies that I'm really not looking forward to this year, and it's probably just because I don't care about them. There's a Minecraft movie coming out.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
My kids want to see it, man. They love Minecraft.
Like the Emoji Movie. Like, what was the point of that? The other one, I liked the original Disney film. There's been a little bit of controversy behind this one with Rachel Zegler. The live action Disney Snow White is coming out, and there's been controversy about her kind of talking down the film a little bit. Not necessarily the film itself, but just the idea of Snow White.
Yeah.
And it's really not made it appealing to go see that.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on the Snow White thing. I don't think I'm going to see it, but I have heard about the controversy for sure. There was a movie that I saw, and I'm trying to find it in my list here, and I've lost it. There is a new Sherlock Holmes movie coming out, which looks interesting, and an incomparable. There's also a new Enola Holmes movie. Did you see Enola Holmes?
I haven't, but I have heard it's good, and I do like Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, me too. And Henry Cavill plays Sherlock Holmes in that series.
Awesome.
And he's really good too. It's a really good series. I'm not sure if I saw the second one now that I think about it. I should probably check it out and see if I did. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, and I definitely would like to see the second one. Now, Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr., obviously incredible series. I don't know if this is a sequel to that or if it's like maybe a reboot or something, but it does say Sherlock Holmes 3. So I just can't find it in my list anymore.
We've been kind of, when we talk about Sherlock, we've been kind of blessed over the last kind of decade and a half with both the RDJ movies as well as the series. The modern day series was fantastic with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Movie about Michael Jackson is going to be coming out too.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm looking forward to that. I still haven't seen the new Bob Dylan one, but
I saw the new Bob Dylan one. It's quite good. It is. I don't know how to describe it other than it's just like any other biopic you've ever seen, and in that you kind of the character. The quote unquote the character. I mean, it's Bob Dylan, but the character basically goes from this kind of innocent, sweet person to kind of a jerk because he's getting famous, and almost like a diva, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, it's a really entertaining movie. Yeah, Faye and I saw it in the theater, and we really liked it. So, yeah.
I've been trying to wait for it to come out on the internet.
Yeah.
But to no avail so far. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And the Michael Jackson one coming out. I think it's his nephew.
Oh.
That plays him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a biopic.
Yes.
I don't know why I thought for some reason it was like a documentary kind of style where it's just behind the scenes stuff. But it's a biopic.
I do believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, with it being his nephew, it's actually his very first role in a film, which should be interesting. One of the things I loved about, because you have sometimes family members playing, or people that were related to certain characters. Like I loved the Dragon Bruce Lee story, and having Jason Scott Lee play Bruce Lee, who he was related to Bruce Lee. I thought that was great. You have a bit of that connection already happening, so it'll be interesting to see with Michael here whether this really kind of amps up his nephew's career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to give one more for myself, and that's The Accountant 2. Did you guys ever see The Accountant?
I actually didn't like it that much.
Ben Affleck.
It was okay, but I didn't. It didn't move the needle for me that much.
Yeah, it did for me. I really enjoyed it. But this one's going to have John Barenthal in it, and I really love John Barenthal too. I like Ben Affleck. I really like John Barenthal. I think he's a really, really good actor.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll punish Ben Affleck.
Well, I think they're working together in this one. From the trailer, or from the trailer that I saw, it looks like they're working together. But and I think it comes out sooner than later, so I'm looking forward to seeing that too. Do you guys have any last ones you'd like to talk about?
I'm good on mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good on mine. I think we're obviously talking about the movies. We should talk about maybe those who are involved in movies.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about people who star in movies, people who make movies, what they are. Now, it's not always just the star that makes movies. I think about, a movie like The Wolf of Wall Street. I think about an actor like Jonah Hill who helped make that movie what it is.
Oh, totally.
That's, the people who support the actors and who are, supporting actors, they all win awards too. There's a category for it. Do you guys have sort of a favorite supporting actor that you can think of that maybe deserves a little more recognition than they get?
There's one that sticks out for me for that specific question. Yeah. I have a couple of favorites over the years that I really enjoy. This would be one of them. But I think this actor doesn't nearly get enough credit, especially for this movie. And that's, I may butcher this as well, but Jimon Hansu for Blood Diamond specifically.
I think it's Jaimin.
Jaimin?
Yeah, like diamond, like
right.
Jaimin.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, playing Solomon Vandy in Blood Diamond.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Just the raw pain and emotion that this guy has throughout this film, and how it's almost like he's kind of so naive to the fact of what's going on behind the scenes. Like, he understands that there's militia and an army that's trying to kind of take over their portion of their country. And at the same time, it's almost like he doesn't realize that there's a whole diamond, not controversy, but like, I don't even know what you'd call it. Just an event happening behind the scenes of this mining illegally and transferring of diamonds and stuff, and how he, wants to protect his family. And it just, I don't know. You could just feel the pain in the guy, right? And
For
just
sure.
such a time in the world in an area of the world where conflict is just, it's ongoing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the films I really enjoyed over the last couple of years, and the supporting roles were played really well. We all know that I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. When Oppenheimer came out,
Hmm.
everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. for being Iron Man, and honestly, for him playing Louis Strauss the way that he did in Oppenheimer, super deserving of his Academy Award for that. He should have had an Academy Award years and years and years ago. I believe he had one for Chaplin, but for a lot of the roles that he plays, he's always great in what he does. But I was really happy with Robert Downey in that movie. I was really happy with Emily Blunt in that movie. She's great in a lot of the supporting roles she does.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies still is with her is with Tom Cruise in The Edge of Tomorrow.
Hmm.
Have you guys ever seen that?
Yep.
The Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah.
I think she's awesome in that as a supporting role. Brad Pitt in not looking at this film now, looking at just supporting roles in general. Brad Pitt as Billy Bean. I guess he'd be kind of the lead role.
I would consider him the lead. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mark Rylance actually he'd be somebody I would talk more support role. He was really good in Player One. I really liked
Ready
him.
Player One. Yeah.
Ready Player One. Yep.
Yeah.
He was also in one with Tom Hanks. It was a spy movie. Can't
Now
remember.
I've got one actually that
Body of Lies or something like that, or
No, that's Russell Crowe and
right.
and Leonardo.
Are you thinking
DiCaprio.
of the one where it's like during World War II or something, and or World War One or whatever, and they're on a bridge?
Yeah, I think
Bridge
I know.
of Lies or
Bridge of
Bridge of
Spies.
Lies? Yeah, Bridge of Spies. Yeah.
Bridge of Spies.
Yeah.
Right.
Bridge of Lies.
It's combined everything.
Now, speaking of Tom Hanks, I have one in mind that I think of a lot of when I think of supporting actors. I think of this specific guy, Michael Clark Duncan
that's
in
so
The Green
funny.
Mile.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. That's on my list.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like incredible, right? That role kind of made him, what he became. Rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan. But he became an incredible actor, and that was because of that role, I think.
Yep. Just the kind of the trick, because he's a big guy already, right?
But he was like a big teddy bear, but he was just this like magical person,
And the filmmaking ability to make him seem so much larger than he even actually
Yeah.
was in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
At a time where that was 99, I think, when that movie was made.
99.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more technological advances these days that kind of help aid with that process than what they would have had in 1999.
Yeah.
But Paul, I just wanted to touch real quick on what you were talking about earlier when in 2011 for Moneyball, Jonah Hill was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actor that year. So for Moneyball.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jonah Hill was incredible. He's really come out as this like really good actor, and maybe it's the people he's working with. Like I know he worked with Scorsese in a few things, and he's worked with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's worked with Brad Pitt. Like these are big name actors who he's obviously gotten to really work on his craft, and so he's obviously an incredible actor because of that. But there's so many other actors out there. One of the things we were talking about before was Christoph Waltz. Incredible in Inglourious Bastards. I would almost consider him not a supporting actor, almost one of the main actors because of the fact that he was so important in that role.
Yeah. Also, funny enough, movie with Brad Pitt as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Brad Pitt is the key. He brings out the best in all of them.
There's a thing about Christoph Waltz in Tarantino movies too, because he won an award 3 years later in Django Unchained.
Django Unchained,
for
yeah,
Best
that's
Supporting
right.
as well.
Yeah. One that we haven't mentioned yet is someone who's no longer with us, but he won the award posthumously, and that of course is Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Joker, that's right.
That was emotional because you think about the way things kind of went down for him. He was in the middle of making his next film when he passed away, but he definitely deserved that award.
Cool thing with that film that he was doing was the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus was the movie that he was in. Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law all came in after he had passed to help fill in his role for the movie, and it actually is a really
It worked
good
really
film.
well. Yeah, it did work really well. because you gotta. I'm sure they were scrambling to figure out what the heck they were gonna do once they lost him. So it was definitely it was one of those too soon moments. But I'm glad that they were able to finish the movie, and it ended up being really, really good.
Yeah, I definitely like that one. When I think of supporting roles, ones I think are kind of funny for the ones that they've won Academy Awards for. We had Viola Davis, where she was on screen, I think, for like 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, Viola Davis. Yeah.
Viola Davis. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. For 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Judi Dench was another one. I think she was on screen for like 2 minutes, and one that she won an Academy Award for.
It's kind of funny. Like you think about these actors and actresses who they literally play minimal roles in the movie, but they still get nominated and win in some cases. I think of Meryl Streep. Same thing.
Yep.
She just wins for being on camera. It's kind of incredible. But it's like it's the thing where the joke is, of course, she can do no wrong because she's the best actor in the world. But I bet you she kind of looks at it and goes, I'm not doing anything so special. I just am on camera. People just love her.
So I was looking at this list of supporting actor nominees, winners, that sort of thing. From like 2020 on, man, I'm not sure I could identify any of these films.
Oh.
Like Judas and the Black Messiah, The Trial of the Chicago 7, One Night in Miami, Sound of Metal, Belfast, Coda, The Power of the Dog, Being the Ricardos. What? I never heard of any of this stuff.
I haven't heard of this.
And these are the nominees from 2020 on.
Coda I've heard of. Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, 2023, there's a couple.
The Fablemans I've heard of. That was a really good movie. It was based upon the life of Steven Spielberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a fabricated version, but it basically kind of tells the story of like how he got into making films and stuff like that.
Right.
That's actually a decent movie.
We look at obviously supporting actors too, because they leave an emotional impact sometimes in the movie based upon whatever their character is playing. And we talk about Marvel movies a lot. One supporting role I thought was great in terms of the movie was Spider-Man No Way Home. When I won't give the actor, actually no, I will give the actor's name. Marissa Tomei's character passes away in the film. I won't explain how. Very emotional scene. She does actually really, really well in terms of having that happen, and then having the person that cares about her character in the movie having to mourn her in that moment and still have to flee in the film too.
I feel like she doesn't get enough credit for her acting talents. She is an Academy Award winning actress. I mean, she won her first Academy Award for My Cousin Vinny.
Absolutely.
Which she was just like in her early 20s when she made that movie. So she's a really talented actress, and I agree. Like she did some incredible stuff with that role for sure.
I know you guys may have already said it or not, but if you could pick one supporting role that's the first one that comes to mind and your favorite, do you have one that sticks out for you? Because I know I do, and I haven't even said mine yet.
A supporting role?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm a nerd, I gotta go with Han Solo, Harrison Ford.
Nice.
I will always love those movies, specifically for his character.
Yeah.
I need some time to think about it.
I'll tell you mine. I mean, it comes from my second favorite movie, A Few Good Men, and that's Jack Nicholson.
Nice, yeah.
As he plays Colonel Nathan Jessup.
You know what? I think back to, and it's not like an Academy Award winning movie, but the movie Rounders.
Yeah.
I think Edward Norton.
Yeah.
As Worm. I mean, he was a dick in the movie, but he played it perfectly. And it's like you really, like, without that character, I feel like the story doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And without him, the story doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Matt Damon was so young too.
Oh,
Edward Norton had kind of already established himself, and it was, it was like he was kind of the older brother, right? But he was the degenerate at the same time.
Totally. And I mean, you can say the same thing about like John Malkovich, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't necessarily play the character that great. I'm sure he would agree with that, but again, without him, it just doesn't make sense, right? So it's that cast altogether was really good. Well, gentlemen, I feel like that's probably a good place to wrap it up. We've talked about our favorite actors and What else did we talk about today? I forgot. We spent so much time talking about acting and stuff.
Blockbusters. And there was lots of appalling and shocking
things that were shocking and appalling to. We did talk a little politics there, but that's okay. You know, sometimes it's okay to talk about it, especially because it's relevant to what we are going through as Canadians and what Americans are also going through too. So
relevant and prevalent.
Yes, that's right.
Absolutely.
But listen, if you guys have anything you want to talk to us about, if you want to comment on anything that we have discussed, or maybe you want us to discuss in the future, please reach out to our social medias. We are available at the Puckn Pod on X or Twitter, if you will, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're also available on any place you can get a podcast. So we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Amazon, we're on Spotify, and
YouTube?
wherever else. And on YouTube, of course, yeah, wherever you can get your podcasts. Please reach out to us there. Let us know if you like the show or if you want us to discuss any specific topics for future episodes. Well, gentlemen, that's about it. Once again, for the Puckn Pod, my name is Joe.
I'm Brando.
And I'm Paul.
We'll see you guys on the next one.